Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to 5 and 9 in the One Stop Co-op Shop, where I go over 5 things you need to know about a game in about 9 minutes or so. Today I'm taking a look at Tales from the Loop, the board game. This one is from Free League Press, and it is a cooperative game for 1 to 5 players in which we're playing kids, going around the suburbs, going to school, doing chores, but also investigating sci-fi-like adventures and happenings, mysterious stuff that's happening around the island. It's based on a Swedish series of IPs and RPGs. A very cool world. I'm excited to show this one to you and see how it stacks up around other story-based games. 2 things of note. Number 1, Colin has a playthrough of this game also on the One Stop Co-op Shop channel, so go ahead and check that one out as well. And also Alice provided a review copy of this game. My number 5 is the overall lore story aesthetic presented by Tales from the Loop, and it's an absolute pro for me. So I'm a child of the 80s. I remember The Breakfast Club, The Goonies, adventures where it would focus on kids, but they were very normal. They went to school, they did chores around their adventures, afraid to get grounded by their parents. And this game really brings that out. Look at it. You have the chore deck and the school deck and the different spaces and everything. So it felt very familiar to me, remembering that era of adventure. However, as an American, when there would be robots involved, there would usually be Skynet or Transformers, something very, with explosions and, very center of stage. Here, the robots are very integrated. It's hard to explain as an American gamer looking at this, where it's like, well, there's a bot, and, it's very integrated with the world. So I felt like it was for lack of a better word, Swedish sensibility. I love getting fiction that is from a different angle, from a different place and time. The Tales from the Loop gives that to me in spades. Great. My number 4 is a fairly significant mix for me, which is the action system. I don't know if this game really knows what it wants to be. It wants to be both a tight Euro game with difficult decisions about resource management, where every move counts. And it also is offering the story, this adventure, paths and to explore and that kind of thing. I feel like it's at cross purposes sometimes. I'm not sure if they get in the way of one another. And it really shows with the action system. So then you get 6 actions a turn. And you use them for everything, going places and, hacking robots and exploring different locations and all that. So each one costs actions. However, you're going to roll for a lot of the resolution, and like any rolling dice game, you could fail. And when you fail, you tend to lose actions. You're exhausted, you're upset, you're scared, all these different things, which are great thematically, but then you end up with not much you can do. And the game kind of rolls on. So you want to, investigate something, but you don't have the actions for it. And it's even so bad that the rulebook says there'll be turns where you don't have any actions at all, and you do this, and this. Oh man, that is, it feels like there's not enough slack in the system for a story-based game for me. My number 3 is attached to number 4, which is a straight up con. The play at 2 players. This game feels so different at 2 relative to the higher player counts. Higher player counts, there was a few extra actions. People were able to go around and, follow different paths. One person would be free to hack the robots while this other person worked in the main quest, while this person worked on rumors, which is the way the game dispenses items or whatever. We'd switch that around. With 2, I just felt under the gun the entire time, have to get things done right away. That resource constraint was really felt at 2. My number 2 is the rule set and overall complexity of the game, which is a definite mix for me. So this game is a Euro game, and this game is a story game, and it wants to be both. Clearly, I don't know if it always gets that balance right, once again. So here are some of the decks I'm showing you. These will generate a lot of the tests that kids take, pass, fail, progress the story. The school deck generates cards that are once per round, and you discard them. Chores are kind of the personal ongoing quest for a kid, and these are the board quests that you have to do to progress the overall end state. And they work differently, and they occupy a slightly different mind space in the player, but they look similar. I feel like it was a missed opportunity ability for the game to kind of teach itself. And that's an example, not the only one, of where the game could have taught itself a little bit better. I have to admit, I had a bit of a difficult time with the bots, exactly how they worked. So then, first of all, their movement on the board is a little bit different. They move on a grid on the board, and the kids move from circle to circle. A little bit of a wrinkle there. So then you have your times where you want to hack them, which is take control of them, and that's a series of tests and rolls. These icons, let me see, do I do both sides up and down? Does it change whether they are regular and normal state or whether they're in alert state? Oh my goodness, I'm using the wrong card. The card says they're supposed to be erratic. I know that none of that made sense to you, but it took so long for me to make sense of that rule set that it's like, I kind of asked myself, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is the overall adventure story and what I'm doing in terms of a strategic experience, is that rewarding relative to how granular the rule set is? I'm not sure. My number one for this game is a pro, which is the scenario design. Each of these decks of cards represent the different scenarios. So the chassis of the game is very clear. You have your characters, they're going to be running around using actions, getting loot from these locations and having little stories, hacking bots as necessary. That happens in every single game. Each of these scenarios, I feel, does a great job of distinguishing itself, making every game feel different. So then I have the electric bully scenario. You'll get a diary card, and it'll give you a general direction of what to do, but it won't give you the overall goal. Each of these scenarios, it's a mystery until you get to the last card. They kind of nudge you along the way. So it's like, oh, you hear a rumor. The bully is over here. So, do something and then get to the bully, and then it'll reveal something else, which unfolds the story. You have plants. You can find, poisonous plants, and as you progress to the scenario, different plants will do stuff to you, ... spoilers. You also have kind of an open-ended mystery islands, which is a whole bunch of different effects that can happen to your character. So for open play, I really felt that these cards are the main thing that are responsible from turning this into what could be a very constrained Euro game. It's something that generates stories that I remember very well done. So that's Tales from the Loop, the board game. My final thoughts, I think this one's going to be to taste. So in my personal story gaming, I like when games provide a little bit more slack in the system, a little bit more room to explore, go down maybe a wrong corridor on purpose, just because I want to explore the story, and especially in terms of failing a roll or things of that nature. It feels very punishing in this game to lose as many cubes. And I didn't show all the ways in which you can lose cubes. There's plenty more. In which you can just have all your cubes on the left side of your board and not have a lot of actions at all to get that on your turn. That is a sensibility that I know some gamers like. They don't like the open-ended. They don't like the, failure not having as bad a consequence, or failing forward in some games like Destiny's has a fail-forward mechanism where, you kind of go to another place. Here, it kind of stops you cold, but there are going to be some gamers that like that. They like that challenge of managing the resource, and the main resource here is time. So, and the story is cool. The vibe is cool. And as I said, in my number one, the scenario play is open-ended and mysterious and whimsical. Once you go through all the scenarios, they're obviously not going to have that sense of mystery where this game's going to take me, but getting there, I found was pretty fun. So that's Tales from the Loop, the board game. This is Jason reminding you that we will see you at the next stop.